So today it is the second day of the digging. I brought my dad along today because it's nice to get some help. It's really a two-man job this, so today we are going to dig some more into the hole, and we're gonna try to get a drain pipe out and put in some perforated pipes. I got some insulation over there, and I got some pipes over there, and this is what we're going to use for putting down the geothermal heating pipes. So yeah, I'm just gonna get quick back into time lapse and let's see how far we can get today. Since this is a pretty long time lapse, I thought I'd just do some voiceover and comment a few things along the way. Hopefully it won't sound that bad. So there's a few things that I would like to point out as we go, and things that I haven't touched on the last episode. So we're essentially building the geothermal greenhouse, and in the last episode I had dug out the whole plot, and in this episode we're going to focus on getting the geothermal piping into the ground. So what we are doing first here is digging a trench for a drainage pipe, because as you can see there's quite a bit of water seeping in through the ground, and there's a lot of groundwater where we live. So there is a creek going somewhere in pipes not too far from this spot, so that's probably why there's so much moisture in the soil. So what we are doing is putting down a approximately 2 meter drainage pipe. This is the same perforated pipes as we're going to use for the geothermal heating pipes. So I'm just digging a trench there, and we're essentially going to put down the 2 meter pipe, and once we're finished and the hole is completely backfilled, we will dig a trench that will end up where we left this pipe, so we can connect an extension to it and run it for 5 or 10 meters further down. So it will be elevated much lower than this point. So what I just fixed to the end of the pipe there was some metal mesh that I have. It's just to avoid gravel running in through the pipe now that we're building it. I expect that this metal mesh will deteriorate by time, but I'm thinking that once the soil and the gravel has set, it won't be any problem. And either way, gravel is not the worst thing that can go into the drain pipe, because it will still drain out some water. So we're now filling the hole with the start. So this is about 10 centimeter of coarse gravel, and we're essentially putting it down for two reasons. First one is, of course, drainage. It's really, really important that we have good drainage here. So the worst thing that can happen is groundwater seeping in and filling where the pipes are going. And especially when I decided to go with perforated pipes, this is the worst thing that can happen, because if it fills with water, then the system won't work at all. So then I would have to wait for the pipes to dry out, and they might not dry out at all. So drainage is the most important thing. The second thing is that gravel is it retains the heat much better than regular soil. Soil gets moist, and the soil don't contain that much air as gravel will. So I'm thinking, now this is my logical way of thinking, is that when I'm driving the warm air through the pipes and they're perforated, I'm hoping and I'm guessing that some of that air will actually seep out into the gravel and start continuously heating the gravel. So in the fall or springtime, when or at night, I'm hoping to pump down cooler air and have it heat up by the gravel. So the gravel is supposedly, based on what I've seen online, the gravel is the way to go if you would like a really good source for retaining your heat. I have to mention that my idea initially came from watching LDS Prepper here on YouTube. He's made some phenomenal work on geothermal hoop houses, and he's recently just started building a separate hoop house. This time he's actually using perforated pipes. On the last build he did use closed pipes. So, but I'm just going straight ahead and doing this without having seen what he's done. So hopefully this is a good way to approach this. As you can see, we're using 50-meter rolls of pipes. Each layer, so we're gonna have 2 layers. Each layer is 100 meters, so there's 2 rolls, and we connect them in the middle. And this is a 100 millimeter outside measurement, and inside diameter is 82, I think, or 83 millimeters. So hopefully that's that's the correct size. And we just finished putting down the first layer here, and we're laying gravel on top of it. I was initially thinking of placing the 2 layers approximately a foot or 30-40 centimeters apart in elevation, but I didn't have enough gravel for it, and I wasn't really thinking about getting more gravel for this, so I decided to lay them with about 10 centimeter spacing in elevation. So we're using 2 full truckloads, and that's 14, I think it's 14 cubic meters of gravel. So that's quite a bit actually, and I'm hoping that this will, since they're spaced not too far apart, I think they will heat up more, the gravel, but it will probably heat up less total volume. So I might go wrong here, but I'm hoping that this will be sufficient. We have started on the second layer there, and we're doing the same exact thing. The exhaust pipes are coming up on the left side there. I again, following LDS Prepper's numbers, he said that if you want to calculate how many meters or feet of pipe you need, you have to take the cubic feet of air that you're going to heat up, so the cubic feet of air in the greenhouse, and you have to divide that by 10, and you will get the number of feet of pipes that you will need. And I converted this to the metrical system which I use, and I came up with about 170, a little bit less than 170 meters of pipes. So I'm hoping that since I've done it in 2 layers now, and there's combined 200 meters of pipe, it will be sufficient, even though they're not spaced correctly in the elevation. So it's kind of a rough setup here, but I don't think that it matters too much, and it will be interesting to see. My initial thought was to put in two holes of this size, because this is actually only half the size of the greenhouse that is going on top. But since I already had 200 meters of pipe, I used way more pipe than I was expecting, and it will be a hassle to dig a similar hole right beside it, because the walls will cave in much more since I already have dug this hole. So I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that this will do the trick. So the red pipes that are going down here, these are just pipes that I put down to be able to stick some temperature sensors in and moisture sensors and all kind of things, because I'm all about having sensors for everything, and I create my own IoT projects, Internet of Things projects, and I program myself, and I do all sorts of things for this, and I'm used to regulating fans and doing those kind of things, and this is something that I will definitely do for this project also, is putting down some decent sensors everywhere, and I'm gonna measure everything and make sure that everything runs on a schedule. So what we're doing right now is I'm just putting down a tarp right now, and that's to prevent the soil from seeping in through the gravel and potentially clogging the pipes since they're perforated. And I also are isolating. I'm isolating 120 centimeters in height all around on 3 of the walls. Not the 4th wall, because that one is obviously linking to the rest of the greenhouse, and I don't want to isolate that part away, because I don't see any problem with warm soil, the temperature leaking into the other part of the greenhouse. So it's kind of rough, as you can see, but it's really hard because the walls are caving in straight away, and there's it's not easy to keep it straight. So I'm just crossing my fingers that this will do the trick, and there will be a few holes in the isolation, but I don't think that will cause too much of a problem. Now, as you can see, half of it is laid horizontally and half of it is vertical, and that's just because I'm doing it horizontal to be able to fit it a little bit better into the adjacent wall. So and on the other side of the greenhouse, I'm going to put down the insulation mats on the surface layer, so there will be only 30 centimeters of soil on top of the insulation, and hopefully that will keep the frost away from entering the greenhouse on the other part on the outside of the greenhouse. So we are still just backfilling here. There's nothing fancy to it. This plot will be finished. I'm not going to do too much now. The winter is coming, and it's actually, as I'm narrating this is a couple of days later, and there's actually snow outside right now. So there's not going to be too much work going into doing this project further now until April, I think. So that's when the frost is leaving, and I'm gonna get the excavator back, and we're gonna dig out and put in a stone wall on the lower part, and everything is going to be finished. Hopefully, I'm almost 100% sure before the start of the growing season. So we will get a good solid greenhouse season in this new plot right here. So as you can see, my oldest son had to join his grandpa in digging some more. He's always wanted to join in doing this stuff, so that's of course welcome. And I'm going to try to see if I can measure the soil temperature via the tubes that I just put in this winter when it's at its coldest. I would say in February or something. The frost is furthest down, I think, in the soil in February. So I will do some measuring and of course let you guys know. I'm just curious to see if I made it below the frost line. Hopefully, since this has been dug up so late in the season, I might be facing frost down there, but we will just see. It's fun either way to measure some temperatures before I put in the greenhouse and then measure it again next year. So what we just did there was to just put up a laser beam to make sure that we are going level, and we just mark something on those two small poles that I just put down there. And this is just something that we are doing at the end here. It's not fine work at all, because everything will be done perfectly once we get into springtime. So this is just a rough way to finish it all up. If you have any questions about this project or anything else that I'm doing about this, I'm always open for input, and I'm fairly new to the whole geothermal greenhouse thing. So if there is any ideas that you have or something that you would like me to see, then just post it in the comment section below, and I will definitely read everything. Okay, this is Christopher saying may the force be with you, and I hope I see you when it's springtime and we're going to finish building the whole fancy new greenhouse.